I do actually have one more question. Is
Yeah.
this carpet
Yeah.
of any significance? Like
No, it kind of was just the lightest carpet we could find. We went to like a Habitat for Humanity like restore where they have like old house making parts.
I asked because you could have told me this was like your childhood carpet or something. I've been like,
Yeah.
wow, that's awesome.
But yeah, I grew up in California. Now I live in Michigan.
Nice. What drew you to like textile work?
I started sewing when I was like 10 years old, and it was
Wow.
kind of started as like making clothes for my American Girl dolls and like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like my neighbor taught me, and then I just learned from YouTube, but I got really into it, and it was also like, I don't know, I've always been very into art, but it was also like one of the few, like a lot of times as a kid, like I couldn't like do PE, or like I couldn't do like the sports section of like day camp or something, so I just ended up doing like the crafts over again, and like that very much got me into like art, since I was just constantly doing something with it, and I enjoyed it, so.
Stamps puts itself forward as a very like progressive school, but do you think it reflects this in its practices? So specifically speaking of access for disabled bodies.
I think like yes and no. I think like socially there are some like, I mean obviously the people have been super accommodating, and like most of my teachers have been like very understanding.
Yeah.
I still
Wow.
don't know where the elevator is, to be honest, so that's probably something they should figure out. But
Yeah.
but like, you know, I'm also like, I don't use a wheelchair. I used a walker for a little bit, but it's not like constant for me, so like in that way I don't have to exist. Like I get that privilege of not having to need the elevator.
Right.
Like I can just take the stairs when I need them. But like obviously not everyone can, and like I think that's one thing that they could definitely improve on, and also like like visibility of those resources. Okay. From, is it Zena? Or is
Yeah, Zena.
Sharman?
Yeah.
From Zena Sharman in The Care We Dream Of. Queer and trans people are alchemists. We are mysterious, impressive, inexplicable, and powerful. We are skilled in the art of transformation. I like that one a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah. I wouldn't say a coincidence, but I feel like a lot of disabled people I meet are also queer or trans, and like in that community. And I think there is like this sense of needing to fight for your community and fight for your like right to exist. That is found in both communities, that I think is just really powerful.
When was the moment where you were like, I think I need to make a bed, like, you know, with the textiles and stuff? When was that?
Like I've done a lot of like larger like stuff sculptures that were like about like the home and domesticity and that kind of thing, so it was like kind of leaning towards that. But then I actually had a flare up of my POTS, and I was in the hospital for like 2 weeks, and like couldn't really get out of bed. So like, well, although my other peers were like, here's me making 50 things, like my brainstorming, I was like in bed. So I was like, all of a sudden everything I do is like about being in bed. So I was like, that's such a, like I should focus on that, because it's such like a microcosm of like everyone goes to bed and everyone has a bed, but like it's such a different relationship for me than it is for other people.
Yeah. There's so much going on. Is there any like fun things that you want to point out, or?
Yeah, I mean, this, I entered the cyanotype, which this one's cool. This one was too big to do it, and also part of it was like me actually laying down on the sheet to like block out the sun.
Yeah.
So I had to like take it outside, and I was like, it was like still winter then, so I was like waiting for like, as soon as there's a nice afternoon, like I have to do it or it's not gonna get done in time. So there was like one day where the sun was shining, I was like, go, we gotta go, and like laid it out in the courtyard. And then I was just like out there by myself, like laying on there. I was like, I hope no one comes out here and like thinks I'm dead. But yeah, so I like that one. Like I guess like the term that comes up a lot is like inspiration porn, where it's like you are seen as like you're either you can't do anything, or you're like so amazing for like overcoming your challenges. And it's like usually not either of those extremes. Like usually you're somewhere in the middle where like and like I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm not good enough, because like I can't do things, and then it's like, oh, if I had only worked harder, then I could have overcame this. But it's like, you know, sometimes it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
that's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I love you bringing up the like overcoming it, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a constant thing in media as well, where disability is something to like power through.
Yeah.
Have to. But do you have anything else to add about like that sort of It's something to
Yeah.
be overcome and not like a part of your identity necessarily.
Yeah.
is
Like
what
I feel
they-
like in my experience, it's been a lot more about like accepting it as a part of myself and like
Yeah.
not like overcoming it, but like seeing how it is a strength to me, and also that doesn't mean that I'm perfect, you know, and like
Yeah,
suddenly
yeah.
I'm a superhero or anything. Like yeah, just like accepting that this is who I am. Yeah.
From Alice Wong in My Medicated Life. When you are disabled and rely on public services and programs, you face vulnerability every day. Fluctuations in the economy and politics determine whether my attendants will receive a living wage and whether I'll have enough services to subsist rather than thrive. Also, yeah. Yeah. I think, like, again, like, I mean, even examples I've talked about today, like, I've had to, like, call in, like, the student disability services, or, like, both me and my sister who also has a chronic illness, like, rely on my parents a lot, and, like, if we didn't have them, I don't know where we would be. Like, you know, I think we would have to rely on, like, government services a lot more.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I rarely meet people in my life who are like disability leaders, and I feel like that has made it a little bit difficult sometimes to be like stand my ground and be like, yeah, I'm a disabled person, and like find that community.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like part of making art about it. It's like we
Yeah.
exist,
Absolutely.
and like finding other people who also are disabled. Yeah.
There's definitely, like, this reliance on other people and services that makes it, at least for me, like, has been the struggle of finding, like, my own independence, and, like, how do I have, like, my own, like, when I rely on others for so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.